Happy Friday. Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from the one, the only Studio K, presented by Circle K. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as long as you're accompanied by your mother and father, head to any Circle K Arizona location where you get any size Polar Pop or Froster for the lovely price of just 79 cents now through September 3rd. I am Anthony Totri, joined on this Freaky Friday, if you will, by the one, the only DJ Kyle. He's behind the Mac. He is making all of the magic happen. We got Sharon in the chat. We got Chad Johnson, also known as Ocho Cinco, in the chat as well. We've got Emily here as well. Do us a solid. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. How is everybody feeling on this Friday? Let us know in the comments. We got another lovely show for you guys. We heard from the quarterbacks for the first time during fall camp. We've got sound from Kenny Dillingham, Jeff Sims, Sam Leavitt, Trenton Bourguet. So buckle up, get your Circle K snacks, and let's talk ASU football, because I will tell you what, that quarterback competition is starting to heat up. Yesterday, it was Sam Leavitt's day. Sam Leavitt had a remarkable pass completely across his body and heaved one for a touchdown to a freshman wideout for a touchdown. And today, Jeff Sims said, hold my beer, and he had his day too. Okay, he had one probably about 60, 65 yards. He heaved through the air, connected with Jake Smith for the touchdown. Jeff Sims had his best day of fall camp as well. And look, there's a lot of people that are calling this a two-man race for that quarterback competition. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you, don't count out Trenton Bourguet, because I know there's a lot of people that talk about the athleticism factor of Jeff Sims. They talk about the arm of Sam Leavitt, but I'll tell you one thing. Trenton Bourguet has outlasted a whole hell of a lot of quarterbacks at Arizona State, and you can always count on him to be ready. So those other two competing for this job can't slip up, because Trenton Bourguet will be ready as well. And we're going to get to some sound here in just a little bit, but first, want to continue talking just a little bit about the roster changes, maybe some depth chart changes that we saw Arizona State's coaching staff kind of experimenting with a little bit today. So what we've noticed, right, the battle along the offensive line has pretty much been Emmett Bull at left tackle. You've had Ben Coleman at left guard, Lee Fautanu at center. Sean Noss started day one of fall camp at right guard. And then at right tackle, you had Mad Max, Ian Anchor. I totally fuck up that dude's name every day. I'm going to sit down with him and I'm going to figure that out. But he's been playing right tackle. Yesterday, it was Cade Briggs at right guard. Today, it was back to Sean Noss. So it appears that it's going to come down to those two potentially starting at right guard. Now, if and when Jalen Clem returns to the lineup, you can likely see, when all things are perfect, which, as we know in college football, is, next to never, you'll have Jalen Clem likely at that left tackle spot, Ben Coleman at left guard, Lee Fautanu at center. We'll see. We'll see if it's Sean Na or Cade Briggs. If I'm a betting man, which I am, I'd put my money on Sean Na, and then Emmett Bull likely kicking all the way back to right tackle. But we will see. Also, in the secondary, at that nickel corner spot, been Mason Williams and Cole Martin kind of going back and forth. I said it the other day. I'll say it again for everybody just tuning in to today's show. For that nickel corner spot, I don't think it really matters who starts, whether that be Mason Williams, whether that be Cole Martin. I think you're going to see a lot of rotation at that spot between those two. Now on the perimeter, it's been Javen Robinson, the Washington State transfer at corner. It's also been Keith Abney opposite him as those two starting corners. I got a question on social media the other day about who could potentially weasel their way into one of those starting corner spots. I'll be honest, I don't know if there's anybody that's going to snag those two spots other than those two guys, but in terms of a rotation, LaTerrence Welch is a name to keep an eye on. potentially rotating in. He's the LSU transfer. Also, don't sleep on Keontez Bradley. He's massive. He's so super tall and lengthy. I was having a conversation with somebody out there today, and you can kind of see the mold that Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham want to get in their secondary lengthy defensive backs. So, Tony Lewis and Cuba, another person to watch to potentially rotate in. He's a freshman corner. Rodney Bimage as well, changing his number through fall camp. He is now number 17. Expect to see a little bit of him as well. Zach in the chat, does Alto get the 2 spot over Leak, referring to Alton McCaskill, the Colorado and Houston running back transfer? We will get into that as well. But first, want to get to Lonnie's $2 super chat. Welcome to the Big 12, Arizona State. So it went through today. If you remember, about a month ago, we had a show talking about Arizona State officially being in the Big 12. That was more of a, hey, the Pac-12 is dead. Today, it is official. Those 4 schools, Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado, now officially a part of the Big 12. So Arizona State fans, you could sit back, relax. You've got a home. Washington State, Oregon State, pour one out for you on this Freaky Friday because you've now officially watched all of those schools depart. If you are a giant college football fan, not just Arizona State, then you saw the Big 10 welcome those 4 schools, Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA. Nice little map update to what the Big 10 normally does. But getting back to Zach's question in regards to, does Alton McCaskill get the 2 spot over Raleek? It's going to be really, really interesting to see these guys at that running back spot compete for that number 2 spot. Again, everybody is kind of in unison that Cam Skattebo is going to be the workhorse for Arizona State throughout the season. Alton McCaskill, Raleek Brown, DeCarlos Brooks, and Kyson Brown, those 4 running backs are the guys that you will likely see in 2-back sets. You will likely see them be the 2nd and 3rd running back. Kenny spoke a little bit today just about Alton McCaskill getting a little bit more comfortable with the playbook. He's still obviously learning it, as a lot of the new transfers are the guys that got here in the fall, as opposed to some of the guys that transferred in and got work in the spring. Kenny specifically mentioned Alton McCaskill, said expect him to have some of his best days through camp 6 through 9. Probably at that point, he is going to be a little bit more comfortable. What you'll notice with not only an Alton McCaskill, but maybe a Malik McLean when he gets back, a Jamon Tapp on the defensive side of the ball, is they've got to get familiar with the playbook, right? It is a big, thick playbook. A lot of these guys, when you first get to camp after transferring to a new program, there's a lot of thinking involved. Now, that may sound stupid, right, that there is a lot of thinking involved, but at a certain point, you want to get to it just being second nature. With Cam Skattebo, it's second nature at this point. With Jordan Tyson, it's second nature at this point. You don't necessarily have to think as much because these guys were here in the spring. So at a certain point, Alton McCaskill, and again, Malik McLean, some of these other guys will be comfortable and familiar enough with the playbook to where it is less of thinking and it is, hey, this is the play, go out there and run it. And that's just kind of how they react. In terms of what I have seen out there, it's going to be a lot of rotation. DeCarlos Brooks got a lot of reps today. Alton McCaskill also running with the 2s and the 3s. Okay, so Kyson Brown, he found his footing in there. I don't have a surefire answer for you in terms of who is going to get that 2 spot. Again, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to put it on Raleek and Alton likely being the number 2 and number 3 running back, although you're going to see a lot of DeCarlos Brooks this season. And I know that's not a beautifully tied up answer for everybody that wants to know who's going to be the second running back for Arizona State. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of guys in that running back room, and it's going to help Arizona State to keep their legs fresh, right? So you are going to see a lot of 2-back sets with Cam, with Raleek, with DeCarlos, with Kyson, and with Alton McCaskill as well. I think in terms of maybe a goal line or a bulkier offensive formation, you'll probably see Alton McCaskill and Cam Skattebo getting those reps simply because they are the bigger backs. Alton McCaskill, easily the biggest back that Arizona State has at 6'1". Sometimes it looks like he teeters 6'2", which is pretty massive for a running back at this level. So again, to answer your question, Zach, highly anticipate seeing all of these guys get a lot of work in because let's be real, Raleek Brown and Alton McCaskill, they have 2 very different skill sets that both benefit this offense, which is going to be a run-first offense. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you need a quarterback to be able to lead this team into the Big 12. And that's really the bulk of the conversation that I want to have today. Is it going to be a Sam Leavitt? Is it going to be a Trenton Bourguet who has outlasted 1,000,005 different quarterback transfers? He's outlived the coaching staffs, a bunch of different offenses. He's heading into his 6th fall camp. That is absolutely ridiculous. A number of offensive coordinators. It's been remarkable to see Trenton Bourguet pick up these offenses year in and year out. And again, I know there's a lot of people that kind of roll their eyes when we talk about Trenton Bourguet in this quarterback competition. But again, I will tell you that you can't sleep on this kid. He comes ready every single day. And when he talks to the media, it's a lot of the same. He's really comfortable in that setting, and he's going to have a nice long career as a college coach when he does decide to hang it all up. But getting to what we saw today, it was a Friday practice. They opted to not practice outside today. They went into the bubble where it's nice, it's cool, it's air conditioned. So shout out Kenny Dillingham. I know all the media. Thank you for having us inside today. But at the end of the day, just because the Sun Devils worked inside the bubble doesn't mean that they took any days off, right? They didn't take any reps off. It was still a full speed practice, and these guys put on pads for the first time. So there was some thumping. There was a little bit more juice today. And mainly in the defensive line room, Kenny Dillingham spoke after practice a little bit about the defensive line battle, and then overall just the attitude that he saw out there today.
The battle there is everybody's so close, and they can feel it. And there are a few scuffles today. Like I told our guys, I'm glad that we have some piss and vinegar about ourselves. If you don't have a little bit of shit to you, how can you control it and apply it to the next play? Keep that same passion, keep that same energy. You're going to have some responses that you just got to hold in and then apply it and use that energy to football, not the extracurricular. But I'm glad we got a lot more shit to us. We got a lot more people that I want to be trapped in a bubble with and go to battle with.
That's pretty much been the mantra of fall camp thus far, right? Is a lot of these guys have attitude. They've got a little shit to them, as Kenny Dillingham said, some piss and vinegar. And you can start to see, not just on the field, that the team is really starting to embrace that identity and embrace that mantra. But Kenny, even after practice, was asked about just joining the Big 12. And he turned behind him, looked at the little media backdrop, and he's like, yep, we're in the Big 12. And he said, quote, we're the worst team in it. We're the worst team in the Big 12, kind of alluding to everybody in terms of the media having Arizona State pegged to finish last in this conference. Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham fully embracing that attitude. There were some scuffles in the D-line, in the offensive line, kind of going back and forth with those edge rushers, and they were getting after it today. Again, you put on pads. This is kind of what you want to see, and you're going to have that competition. You are going to have, especially those guys in the interior of this offense and defense, really start to show that attitude, right? Because it's competition. There's a lot of battles open on the defensive line, on the offensive line, you could argue. And at that edge rusher position, we saw some changes. We saw Jeff Clark out there today. We saw a lot more of Elijah O'Neal out there today as well. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see when we get through Camp Tontozona, how some of these guys start to fall in that depth chart. And Zach bringing it up, just talking about Camp T a little bit in the quarterback competition. First asking if we're going to Camp T. We will have someone out there for Camp T. It won't be me. I will be out of town. Also asking, do you think the quarterback battle will be over after Camp T? This is the first time that I've been asked this, to be honest with you. And I'm going to say, I don't think Kenny Dillingham is going to name a quarterback the day after Camp T, but I do feel like that following week, when Arizona State does return to practicing at the Kajikawa practice fields, that's when I would anticipate having a better idea as to who is going to be the starting quarterback for your Arizona State Sun Devils heading into 2024. Again, the competition has really started to heat up. I know there was a lot of people, probably the coaching staff included, that had a lot on Sam Leavitt being the guy. Again, he's still running with the twos. Jeff Sims running with the or Sam Leavitt running with the ones, excuse me. Jeff Sims running with the twos, and then Trenton Bourguet running with the threes. But if these guys continue to trade passes the way that they have over the last 3 days of camp, then this competition is going to run well through Camp Tontozona. But again, Kenny Dillingham and Marcus Arroyo, they want to have their starting quarterback named well ahead of that Wyoming game. Again, just to kind of eliminate all of the discussion and the pressure, I think, that comes with having an ongoing quarterback battle. But Sam Leavitt, Trenton Bourguet, two guys that were here in the spring. The new guy, Jeff Sims, the Nebraska and Georgia Tech transfer. Everybody and their mother wants to talk about the season that he had last year, saying he's a bust, saying he's a bad college quarterback, saying that he can't compete at this level. I'll tell you what, he made a ridiculous throw today. A ridiculous 60, 65-yard pass to Jake Smith. Also, shout out Jake Smith. Phenomenal over-the-shoulder grab. It was ridiculous to see. Absolutely ridiculous. So we got the opportunity to ask Jeff Sims some questions just about, hey, why'd you come to Arizona State? And kind of going back to what Kenny said about the piss and vinegar of this team, does Jeff Sims have a chip on his shoulder? This was his answer.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I feel like this team, overall, we all got a chip on our shoulders. We hungry. And you can just tell by the way we practice, everybody competing, everybody going at it. And there's just a different edge to the team.
I'm going to get a little fired up about this for a second because a lot of people I've seen on social media, Mike Luke included, PHNX Wildcats host, love Mike to death, talking about Jeff Sims being a quote-unquote bad quarterback. Jeff Sims is still a kid, right? I think that's something that a lot of people have to remember when we're talking about these guys, is they are still kids, right? They're playing a game. And there's a lot of individuals on social media that come after Jeff Sims because of the turnovers last season. And you listen to Kenny speak about why they brought Jeff Sims into this quarterback room. What does he add, right? And people make jokes on social media. Oh, he's going to turn the ball over. That's what he adds. He adds nothing. Doesn't add game experience. Bad quarterback. That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Jeff Sims, I've watched it through 3 days of camp, can throw the football. He can sling that thing. You don't find just some Joe Schmo on the street who can heave it 60, 65 yards on a rope. That doesn't happen, okay? So all the Arizona State fans that have been mocking and saying bullshit about Jeff Sims, what are you doing? Because this is what I can't understand. You can't talk shit about a kid and then turn around and be like, oh, but I love Kenny Dillingham, right? And the reason I say that is if you support Kenny Dillingham, then you also have to support his decisions to go into the transfer portal and add a quarterback. A quarterback who, yes, didn't have the greatest season last year. Do you have the best day of work every single day? Do you ever have a bad week, a bad month? And if you can sit there and say no, then my goodness, you're perfect. You're a perfect person, right? You could grow, you can learn. It's the same thing. And it's also not the best system. This system for Jeff Sims, this system for Sam Leavitt, this system for Trenton Bourguet is supposed to get the most out of what they do as quarterbacks. So again, going back to the question of why did Kenny add Jeff Sims? The answer is he could play football at a high level. He's a freak athlete with a hell of an arm. Give him a fresh start. Gave Bo Nix a fresh start. That went pretty well. Gave Jordan Travis a fresh start. That went pretty well. Gave Brady White a fresh start. That went pretty well too. So if you're going to talk shit about Jeff Sims, then I better not see you the very next tweet talking about how you support Kenny Dillingham and do all this. Because guess what? Kenny made that choice. And you got to have faith. You got to have trust in your coach. And at the end of the day, it's going to be up to Jeff Sims to get it done and prove all those doubters wrong. So when it came down to the conversations, what were they like? What did Kenny say to Jeff Sims to get him in the door at Arizona State? This is his answer.
I said, listen, we got a quarterback right now on our roster that I think is really freaking good. I think he's really good. So if you want to come in here and battle your butt off to compete versus this kid, bring it on. But just understand, he's a good player. And I think Jeff's a good player too. And he showed it to him, and he threw the ball across his body 65 yards on a home run post and a half roll, right, which is one of the best throws I've seen live. And it's like one of those things you see in a pro day with nobody playing football around you. He did it in a real life setting. So kudos to him. I think both those guys that have 1 turnover in 3 days of practice league. And that's good quarterback play. We don't win football games if we don't turn the ball over and take negatives of quarterback.
There you go. Everybody says Jeff Sims, all he does is turn the ball over. Him and Sam Leavitt, same amount of turnovers through 11 on 11 through fall camp. I'm just telling you the facts. Again, these guys haven't played a game yet for Arizona State, so they could be great, they could be good, they could be trash. But through fall camp, this is what we've seen, right? And Kenny told him, you got to respect that, right? You got to respect that from Kenny's side. You got to respect that from Sam's side, from Trenton's side, and from Jeff's side. Because Jeff was sitting there, went back to Georgia Tech to get his degree after Nebraska. So congratulations to Jeff Sims on that. But to hear that, right? Kenny Dillingham says, we've got some good quarterbacks here. We got Sam Leavitt, a young transfer from Michigan State, was a highly recruited kid coming out of high school. He's a really talented quarterback. If you want to come compete, come compete. Jeff said, bet. That's all you can ask, right? That's what you want. That's what you want if you're an Arizona State fan. What blows my mind every year, and I didn't anticipate getting this damn heated about it, so I apologize to Kyle, because I told him it might be a little bit of a short show, but if I'm going to be going on these rants, I don't know how long we might go today. But at the end of the day, right, like, all these kids can do is learn the system and go out there and try and be the best quarterback for their university, for their team. And Arizona State, in years past, during previous regimes, has not had guys that go 2, 3, 4 deep on the roster, on the depth chart, that compete. They've had guys that come to Arizona State because it's Arizona State, right? They come, they're like, I'll be on the, third team's fine, second team's fine. Fuck that. You want guys that want to compete. You want guys that want to win football games. You want guys that want to push the limit as to what Arizona State can do. You got a good quarterback room, man. And I was here when Jaden Daniels was here. I was here when Manny Wilkins was here. I was here when Brady White, Dylan Sterling Cole, all Bryce Perkins, Blake Barnett, Paul Tyson, Emory Jones. I've seen all of them. Last year's quarterback room, not very good. This year's quarterback room runs circles around that quarterback room. And you want to know why? It's not just about talent. It's about the mindset that they have with these quarterbacks. House of Heat Sports talking about Navi, right? Where's Navi? You haven't heard a lot about Navi. You haven't heard a lot about Navi because he's a walk-on, right? He's a walk-on. And these 3 guys, they all want to be the starting quarterback, right? You've got guys that want to go out there and compete to be the starting quarterback. They've all got physical traits that are damn near, impressive in the Big 12. Jeff Sims is a big dude. Sam Leavitt has a hell of an arm. Trenton Bourguet is one of the smartest football minds that I have ever been around at this level. That's a good quarterback room, okay? You got to trust it. And you got to trust that Kenny Dillingham knows that he is going to throw out the best quarterback in his mind to lead Arizona State to victory. So enough social media trashing Jeff Sims. It just doesn't. What does it do, right? You're just going to sit back there with your Twitter fingers and just go crazy? It's pointless. And again, this kid sees it. He was asked today what that noise on social media does for him, how it's affected him. This is what Jeff Sims had to say about it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm not really worried about it. I had a bad year. Sometimes that happens. I got to take it on the chin and learn from it and just strive to be better.
Perfect answer. Right? Perfect answer. You got a bunch of trolls sitting at home talking about, Jeff Sims is bad. Jeff Sims can't do this. Jeff Sims sucks. Armchair quarterbacks, huh? Just sitting at home, drinking your 6th brew, talking shit about a kid you never met. It's kind of pathetic, man. It's kind of pathetic. Again, he hadn't even suited up for Arizona State yet. Now, if you're a rival, if you're an Arizona fan, you're a Big 12 fan, you want to talk mess about a kid, I guess that's your prerogative. Just, feels like a weird hobby to have, like pick up golf or something. Like maybe probably be a little bit more productive or something like that. Look, we're going to continue talking about Arizona State's quarterback battle and fall camp. Again, do us a solid. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. I'm going to get to Brady's comment here in a second. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Sanderson Ford. Guide their 65-acre facility. Again, I'm going to tell you, their 65-acre facility makes them the largest Ford dealership in the nation. But it's not always about the size, right? It's about the quality as well. And you know they've got good quality because they've been doing this through 3 generations. Sanderson Ford, they've been a family-owned and operated place that's helping serve the community in every way possible, not just by having the best trucks and cars out there, okay? They give back, they donate, they support a number of different causes. St. Mary's Food Bank, Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center, the Military Assistance Mission, Special Olympics Arizona. The list goes on and on. They're not just about the money, they're about the community as well. And look, they thrive on a no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense sales approach. That's what makes them so damn good. And look, they're pushing for the playoffs, and you guys can get the payoffs like deals on the 24 Ford Bronco Sport Big Ben. It was just ranked highest in quality in its segment by J.D. Power. Plus, look, there's 0% financing for 36 months with no payments for 90 days on Ford F-150 Escape, Edge, Explorer, and Expedition. The list goes on. The Sanderson Ford Summer Sales event is here, and they are teaming up with the boys this summer for a final playoff payoff sale. Purchase or lease any new Ford and get 4 tickets for your family to see the D-backs push for the playoffs, guys. Get 0% for 36 months OAC from Ford Credit. See dealer for details. And look, obviously this is an Arizona State podcast, right? So we're talking about the Sun Devils every single day. And can you believe it? College football is almost back. God damn, that's so fucking exciting. Are you kidding me? It's here. College football, NFL football, it's all back. I don't care what anybody says on any other podcast on this network, talking about baseball, talking about hockey, talking about soccer, talking about basketball. Football is the best damn season, and you can't convince me otherwise. And if you are trying to get your butt in a seat to go watch the Sun Devils in person, well, I'll tell you what, Game Time is the place to do it. If you're a procrastinator like me and wait to the last minute, Game Time is going to reward you because the ticket prices get lower as we get closer to game day. And they've already got affordable tickets if you want to go see the Sun Devils take on Wyoming, or if you want to see the Sun Devils at any point while they play at Mountain America Stadium. Look, I'll tell you what, Game Time is the place that you need to get your tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Against terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Sharon in the chat, Totri is fired up today. I don't know what it is. I was about here for, as soon as I got back from camp, I was talking with Kyle. I'm like, man, look, I don't know if I got the energy today, right? I had 2 cups of coffee, and I'm just injected in my veins, Sharon. I'm ready to fucking rumble. Brady in the chat, Leavitt and Sims are both athletic, good scramblers, something that was seriously lacking last year. That alone makes me excited. They're both super, super athletic. The crazy thing about both of those throws, and I know there's a lot of people that are going to talk and want to respectfully give credit to the arm talent. Both were crazy throws. Sam threw it completely across his body about 40 yards, which again, 40 yards is just the length of the pass. It was longer than that because the pass came from all the way across his body. That was a rollout, right? He was rolling left, threw it all the way across his body, completed that pass. Jeff Sims did that today again on a rope. Like, that's something to be excited about when we're talking about Arizona State. And you bring up the athleticism. Both those guys can scramble, right? Both those guys have the athletic ability to, if a play breaks up, go make a play on your own. And I think, again, that's what you said was missing last season. That's not going to be missing this season. Marcus Arroyo, Kenny Dillingham, they're going to tailor this offense to whoever is the starting quarterback for the Sun Devils. So, could it be Jeff Sims? Potentially. Could it be Trenton Bourguet? Again, we've already kind of touched on the fact that Trenton Bourguet is not a name that a lot of people talk about when we're talking about this quarterback competition. You could say he's a walk-on. You could say he's not big enough. You could say he's not athletic enough. He has outlasted 21 quarterbacks. Just think about that for a second. 21 quarterbacks have either committed and showed up to Arizona State or transferred to Arizona State, walked on to the Arizona State roster. They're not here anymore. Trenton Bourguet is. That's got to be worth something, right? If you go back a couple seasons ago and you look at the Washington Huskies and Michael Penix Jr. and that team, Trenton Bourguet is one of 2 quarterbacks to beat Michael Penix Jr. over his last 2 seasons. The other one, J.J. McCarthy, who has a national championship. The only 2. Trenton Bourguet has as many 300-yard passing games as anybody at Arizona State over the last few seasons. Like, I don't know what more people want from this kid because he's not 6'5", because he doesn't run a 4.4. Like, if he's a starting quarterback, he's a starting quarterback, and he won that job. That's something that I've never really truly understood, is when people talk about the quarterback competition and then somebody wins the job that you maybe didn't want or didn't expect to win, and you're like, well, we're screwed. Like the coaches don't know more than you. Like the coaches didn't make this decision for a reason. Again, it goes back to the trust thing. You can't say this 1 minute and then be like, oh, Kenny, he's here to save us. Yes, but he's going to make the right decisions. He's going to make the decisions that he feels are going to set this program up to win not just the season, but also win for years to come. But look, if Trenton Bourguet is named the starting quarterback, it's not for years to come. It'd be this year, right? He's done after this year. So all you Bourguet haters, there you go. Trenton Bourguet, his final hoorah, heading into his 6th fall camp. That is absolutely ridiculous. So what is Trenton Bourguet focused on heading into fall camp? Well, here you go.
Yeah, for me, it's obviously just to take it one day at a time. I was just talking to Melquan, we're both going into our last fall camp, and obviously in the past, you kind of take it for granted. You're a freshman, you're a sophomore, and you're like, I have years to come, but you blink and it's your last year. So for me, it's really just taking it one day at a time. If I'm the starter, the backup, the 3rd string, 4th string, it doesn't matter. I'm blessed to play this game and, put in this platform, to raise awareness, being a Christian man and just trying to be the best person I can be each and every day.
Kyle, when you listen to that, is he a villain of some kind that I just don't know about?
Definitely not a villain.
Like, I just people
Batman.
love, it's his last final camp, man. Like, he's just a college quarterback that's been doing it for a while, walked on, stayed at Arizona State. Look, this kid could have transferred. He could have transferred to a D2 program and the starter. He could have transferred probably to a D1 program and competed even for another starting spot. But he opted to stay at Arizona State because this kid's through and through Arizona State. This kid wants to be a Sun Devil. And who knows, maybe at some point after this season, he works on the Arizona State coaching staff. That'd be a hell of a fucking story, wouldn't it? Not just for him, not just for the Bourguet family, but for Arizona State. Activating the Valley, nobody has done it. Nobody has done it the way that Trenton Bourguet and the Bourguet family have. So you got to always, I think, appreciate that. Again, a lot of this is my 2 cents, my opinion. You can disagree with me, okay? At the end of the day, that's just Trenton Bourguet is out there when he doesn't have to be, right? 6th year. A lot of these guys, Jake Smith, right? He's getting up there. Hadn't played a lot of college football because of injuries, transfers, NCAA stuff, whatever. Xavier Alford, same kind of situation. Melquan Stovall going in his last fall camp. Like, you got to appreciate it, right? And in this day and age of college football, guys that stick through with a program for as long as they do, I think that's got to that's worth something, man. That's worth something to the fan base. It's worth something to the coaching staff. And I know it means a whole hell of a lot to the family, right? To be able to have both Coleman and Trenton at Arizona State. And for Trenton's last season, man, whether he is out there as a starter, whether he earns that starting role, whether he's a backup, whether he's the backup's backup. One thing that I think you can always count on Trenton Bourguet, and if you don't believe me, go back and watch the games, is the kid's always ready. People talk about that Washington game a couple years back. If you remember correctly, Emory Jones started that game. Emory Jones got knocked out of that game. Trenton Bourguet led Arizona State to that win. And then guess what? When Arizona State went on the next week after a bye, Emory Jones played. Emory Jones played that game. I believe it was Stanford. Trenton Bourguet took it on his chin. And then when he was thrust back into the starting role against Colorado, they whooped the Buffs' ass. You remember that, DNVR. You remember that. Just had to throw that out there. Look, Trenton Bourguet, Jeff Sims, both competing for that starting quarterback role. But, Sam Leavitt, the former Michigan State quarterback, in my personal opinion, seems to be the favorite right now. Seems to have the edge for that quarterback role. But you got to stack days. And we're only in day 3 of fall camp. They got practice tomorrow, Camp Tontozona next week. Things are certainly going to start to heat up. So what's it been like for Sam Leavitt, right? A young quarterback transferring from Michigan State to Arizona State. Is he getting more comfortable with the offense? It looks like it, right? And a big part of that has to do with his relationship with offensive coordinator Marcus Arroyo. This is what Sam Leavitt had to say, both about his relationship with Marcus Arroyo and then just getting a little bit more familiar with the Arizona State offense.
Yeah, when I came on my visit, we were able to talk schematics and, what he sees here. And, we're going to build something pretty special. He's a great players coach and really understands you as a person. So, whenever I have questions, he's the person that tailors things to the quarterback. So I'm able to come to him, and he might understand that I might take something differently than Trenton or Jeff or something like that. So he's able to really get the point across and how I need to hear it. It's grown a lot. We're able to see what I like and what he likes, and where he wants the ball to go in certain looks, and we're able to discuss protections and all that, and everything's just carried over. And now from spring, it's night and day from how I feel in the offense, comfortability. So there's been a lot of improvement, and me and him have worked through a lot of things.
It's one thing to say you're more comfortable. It's another to look at. Sam Leavitt looks more comfortable. During the spring, there were a lot of moments where, I'm not going to say there were a lot of miscues, but there were a lot of individual moments throughout spring where there was maybe a miscommunication between Sam and a wide receiver. Maybe Sam thought they were running a different route. Maybe it was an option route. Wideout decided to do something that Sam thought they should have done something different. Those have been cleaned up through 3 days of fall camp. Again, these guys look a lot more comfortable. Sam specifically looks a lot more comfortable. He's getting the ball out fast. The one thing that I would say about Sam thus far is in terms of taking his shots, right? I think there's a lot of people that, again, talk about the Jeff Sims part of this quarterback competition, and they're like, maybe he tried to force it a little bit too much last season, thus resulting in as many turnovers as he did, both INTs and fumbles. Again, when you are a quarterback, Sam Leavitt understands taking what the defense gives you, right? And I think that's how you thrive at Arizona State this season in this offense, is you take what the defense gives you, okay? If I'm Arizona State, if I'm Marcus Arroyo, if I'm Kenny Dillingham, let's walk through this for the individuals in here, for the individuals walking it back or watching this back, right? Let's say we're out there with 2 running backs. Let's say it's Raleek Brown and Cam Scadaboo. We're running it on first down. We're loading the box, right? Offensively, we've got our tight ends in there, our big-ass tight ends, our Marcus and Douglas, and we're running the rock. We're getting 4 or 5 yards a carry, and we're doing the same thing on second down. It's not pretty. It's not beautiful. It's not a pro-style offense. But I'll tell you what. You, as an ASU fan, when it's 3rd and 2, as opposed to 3rd and 12, and your quarterback doesn't have to make magic happen every single drive, you're going to love it. You're going to love the fact that you have 5 to 6 running backs that can carry the football and have an explosive play. You're going to love the fact that you've got speed demons as wide receivers with sure hands, as opposed to maybe superstars out there at wideout. The offense is built to death by 1,000 cuts. And eventually, and occasionally, take your shot. What's going to separate the starting quarterback at Arizona State this year versus quarterbacks in years past is when the shot is there, do you take it? And when you take it, do you hit it? There's not a lot of shot plays in practice thus far. But I'll tell you what, the last 2 days, if you follow me on Twitter, I'll let you know when I see them. And both times, they've connected. Sam connected. Jeff connected. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be drops. There's going to be miscues. There's going to be an overthrown pass every now and again. But when it comes down to it, can you hit it? And do you take it? Right? The same way that a quarterback at one point can take too many shots, you can have the opposite issue of a quarterback that doesn't take enough. And what did Kenny Dillingham say repetitively at this point, or repeatedly, is last year this team didn't have enough explosive plays. So what'd they do? They went and they added some star running backs, Raleek Brown, Alt McCaskill. I'll refrain from using star because I know there's going to be people in the YouTube comments being like, these guys did nothing last year. You brought in some talented players at running back. Jordan Tyson's healthy. Malik McClain got a lot of potential, right? Penn State wide receiver. You bring back guys. Troy O'Meara got better. Melquan Stovall got better. You bring in some freshman wideouts. You bulk up your tight end room. Take your shots. Take your shots. Run it down opposing defenses' throats, which Arizona State will do in the Big 12. Surprise. And when they need to, they're going to take their shots. But don't expect Sam Leavitt to throw for 300 yards a game. Okay? It's not happening. I'm telling you right now. Okay? It's not happening. And that's not because he doesn't have the talent to do so. That's because that's not what he's going to be asked to do. At Arizona State, you are going to be a game manager. Okay? That's what it is. You're going to thrive with the pieces around you. And if you look at Kenny Dillingham's offenses over the last several seasons, the good ones allow the quarterback to take what the defense gives him while also being able to run the football effectively and keep the quarterback upright. Why did Bo Nix succeed at such a high level with Kenny Dillingham at Oregon? It's for that same reason. And that's not to take anything away from Bo Nix's pure talent. He's a talented quarterback. There's a lot of talented D1 quarterbacks that would have thrived with those players and would have thrived in that system. Now you've got the system. Do you have the players? I think you got more this year than you did last year. And all you can do is continue to stack up those days, stack up the practices, and see ultimately who the best guy for the job is. And I think you might have an answer after Camp Tontazona. Is it Sam? Maybe. Is it Jeff? Maybe. Is it Trenton? Maybe. Again, I said it earlier. I'll say it again. I think Sam Leavitt will probably be the starting quarterback for Arizona State when the Sun Devils take on Wyoming. Should you cry a river if it's Jeff Sims? Are you going to stomp your feet if it's Trenton Bourguet? You shouldn't. That means they beat out the other two, which says a whole hell of a lot. William in the chat, game manager, ? Seems like Trenton's MO, and he hasn't been mentioned by either Dilly or Arroyo. Like I said, man, kind of feels a little bit like there already might be a favorite for that job. That's not to take anything away from Trenton, just kind of where they're at with this competition as well. Sharon in the chat, was Sims at Nebraska kind of like Drew Pine last year? Where when the O-line crumbles, he doesn't react well to pressure. With Pine, it was sacks, Sims turnovers, or was it something else? So I had this conversation a tad with somebody out there at practice today, specifically about Drew Pine. Drew Pine, first and foremost, great kid. But Drew Pine at Notre Dame was so wildly overhyped when he got to Arizona State. And I can see 100% why that was a potentially attractive transfer for Kenny Dillingham. However, it didn't feel like, again, you look at a lot of the injuries up front. The offensive line wasn't where it needed to be. And people talk about Drew Pine winning as many games as he did at Notre Dame. Well, lucky for you guys watching the show, I was at Notre Dame when Drew Pine was there. Not his last season, but leading up to that, I watched him be a backup to Ian Book. I watched him be a backup to Jack Cohn. he was a backup to Jack Cohn because he lost that quarterback competition. I remember it being a quarterback competition because the media loved to call it the pine cone competition. But that was legit. Jack Cohn won that job. Jack Cohn wasn't Tom Brady. He's not doing a whole lot in the NFL. Neither is Ian Book. There's a reason Notre Dame quarterbacks don't go on to have very much success. You know why? Because look at those fucking rosters. Those Irish rosters are littered with NFL talent. Not at the quarterback position, but everywhere else. Drew Pine won as many games as he did at Notre Dame that season when they finished in the AP Top 25 because they had an NFL offensive line. Because they had a ridiculous running back in Audric Estime. Because they had a world beater defense, right? That's why. In fact, the only reason Drew Pine played as much as he did that season at Notre Dame is because the guy that he lost that quarterback competition to, Tyler Buckner, got hurt. That's why Drew Pine was starting at quarterback for the majority of the season. So when he got to Arizona State, you're like, oh, maybe this guy could be a game manager, right? Because you saw him at Notre Dame. He was never really asked to go be a superstar because he didn't have to be, right? That's how you win in college football. Everybody likes the bells and whistles of a 40-point win, right? With 5-star wide receivers and crazy running backs. That's great. That's awesome. Georgia doesn't do that. Alabama never did that. What did they do? They played defense and they beat you inside. And they did it every play of every drive, every season. That's how you win football games, right? It's not just a one-man band. Patrick Mahomes isn't playing college football, right? Sorry, Dylan Raiola. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. Like, Drew Pine won games because he had an NFL offensive line. He had a great defense. That's why he won games. So when he got here and he was getting sacked and he was having to run for his life because they didn't have enough healthy offensive linemen to help him, that's what you saw. You saw Drew Pine have to go be a superstar. Drew Pine wasn't a superstar. Again, great kid. Nothing against Drew Pine. Wasn't that guy, right? I think your quarterback room is more athletic. I think the system probably is a little bit more tailored to these guys that you have now. Sorry, Bo Baldwin, but Marcus Arroyo is a better offensive coordinator in my mind. And you've got more talent on the team. And you're healthy. Knock on wood. Sets you up to be a good team. Point blank, period. Now, for everybody that just joined, who's going to be the starting quarterback? I'm not Kenny Dillingham. I can't answer that question. But I think Sam Leavitt will be that guy. Just going to put that out there. BC in the chat, Osweiler was a legit NFL caliber quarterback. None of these guys are Brock Osweiler. I say that because none of them are like 6'8", right? No, that's just none of them are that size. They both have, like, Jeff and Sam have really, really big arms. They're both really athletic. I would say both of which are more athletic than Brock Osweiler was. But again, like, do you want to win football games or do you want Patrick Mahomes? Patrick Mahomes and Texas Tech went, what, 7-5 that year? I want to win football games. You should want to win football games. Like, last thing I'll say about this, for everybody that is, like, stomping their feet saying, we don't get good quarterbacks at Arizona State. What the fuck do good quarterbacks do in college? Justin Herbert never won a national championship. He's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, right? Patrick Mahomes, just brought him up. He didn't win a national championship. He barely went fucking bowling at Texas Tech. Best quarterback in the NFL, top 5 quarterback in, what, NFL history probably already? Who else is really good? Dak Prescott, he's top 12 quarterback. I know there's people that are going to hate that. Where did he play? Mississippi State? Mississippi State sucks. These are all good quarterbacks. I'm being honest, right? That's just college football, dude. You got to find somebody that's going to run your offense and run it well and use the talent around them in the best way possible. I think you've got that right now. Kyle, I'm going to get off my soapbox, okay? It's time for Hot or Not. For everybody that's new to the PHNX Sun Devil show, again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review. Hot or Not. Lovely producer Kyle has got 3 random topics that could do from anything to, I don't know, knitting to aliens. And we will Go back and forth. We'll argue. We'll debate. We'll get into it. Everybody in the comments, more than welcome. Drop your opinions. Argue with us. We appreciate you. Also, one last little note. Head to gophnx.com and click that Die Hard tab. Become a PHNX Die Hard today. Again, when you click that Die Hard tab, it's going to tell you everything that you unlock when you become a PHNX Die Hard, and that is a long list. You're going to get access to that Die Hard Discord. You're going to get exclusive Die Hard only content. You are going to get discounts on merch, discounts on events. You're going to get a Die Hard membership card. You're going to get a free t-shirt every single year with your Die Hard membership. It pays for itself. I promise you. Just give it a shot for a year. Let us know. Even if you're not a giant ASU fan, we got a Wildcats chat. We got a hockey chat. We've got a Suns chat. We got a Cardinals chat. We got a Rising chat. We got a Mercury chat. The list goes on and on for what we have when you become a PHNX diehard. But enough. Let's get into Hot or Not. Kyle, this is your first Hot or Not being a DJ, man.
First one.
I love it.
Let's do it.
I love it. Are you as juiced as I am?
I'm getting there.
I need you.
I need to match your energy.
Yeah, I need it. Are we matching? I can't see what these. We kind of are.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Look at us. Who would have thought, right? What do we got for topic number one, Kyle?
All right. So we see Kenny Dillingham wearing hoodies a lot, especially in these hot temperatures.
Yes.
So hot or not, hoodies and 100+ degree weather.
Hoodies. You need these? Yeah. Shady, come here, Max.
No.
Come here. Come here. We're doing hot or not real quick. You can have these if you answer. We're doing so. So Kyle brought up the fact that Kenny wears a lot of hoodies, right? And it's 100+ degrees outside.
Hoodies are quite literally hot.
Yes, but hoodies in 100-degree weather, hot or not?
That is, if we're
okay. I don't need you to be. I don't need you to be literal. I don't need you to be literal. Hot or not, hoodies in 100-degree weather, and I have an answer for you, locked and loaded. If you give me the wrong answer, because there is a right answer.
There is.
Hot. Yes, it is hot. Why do you think it's hot, Max? He's got somewhere to be, and I just love dragging him here.
It's a pretty good move if it's already 100 degrees out and you're wearing a hoodie. Like I'm like, you're built differently.
Okay, I'm here for that. He's taking the built different approach. I'm gonna tell you that it's hot simply because you don't have to put on sunscreen. You don't have to put on sunscreen. You don't get burned. You're getting kind of a decent little workout in without even having to do anything because it's just simply hot outside. And you avoid the sunburn. And when it's 110 degrees outside and it's just like blistering heat on you, it's hot as hell. Literally, figuratively, any way you put it. Do you think it's hot?
No.
No?
No.
Oh my gosh. Please explain yourself.
No.
Here.
I mean, I walk outside here in Arizona, I'm already sweating. You know, when I throw on a hoodie and like I can't breathe.
Yeah, but do you like being sunburned?
No, but
no. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm here for hoodie, but I say it's hot, but you will never catch me wearing a hoodie in 100 degrees. So like fake fan, sure, whatever. I don't care. I think it's hot, but it is what it is. Let me know in the chat. What we got for topic number 2, Kyle?
All right, we got pajamas or sweatpants to work. Hot or not?
Ooh, pajamas or sweatpants. So I'm big sweatpants guy. Or joggers. Do joggers count as sweatpants?
I would say they're different.
They're different? Ooh. Then I don't know. I don't know if I'll go sweatpants being hot at work. Or pajamas, to be honest. Pajamas is a weird flex. Like if you're wearing pajamas at work, A, you got a crazy job. B, why are we wearing pajamas? Like I think the worst part about pajamas at work, it again depends on your job. You left your house, got in your car, drove probably on the freeway in pajamas midday. And you have to drive home 4 or 5 o'clock, rush hour traffic, sitting in your car in pajamas. It's just kind of a weird look to me. It's just kind of a weird look. What do you think?
Yeah, if you can do all that, you know, get up, get in your car, why can't you just change your pants?
Just put on pants, man.
Yeah.
Like it really is that easy. Now, if they are really fucking cool, if they're really cool pajamas or really cool sweatpants, I think you get a pass, but it's a rare occasion. Also, if you are the individual that wears pajamas to the gym, you are the worst kind of person. The worst kind of person. I don't know when that started to be a thing, when like pajamas in the gym. Like, have you seen that? People that wear pajamas in the gym?
Yeah.
It's weird. And they all got the same fucking haircut. It's just, stop doing it. Put on normal pants, man. Like, do the world a favor, okay? Also, I feel like if you're wearing pajamas to like work or whatever, for me, it's just like a little less, I feel less productive because I'm comfier.
Yep.
Like I feel like I have to be a little uncomfy to work, you know? But maybe that's just me. What's our final topic?
Final one is a hot beverage. Nighttime coffee. Hot or not?
Wow. You're really, really reaching into my soul here with this one. Nighttime coffee. I think it has its moments. I think nighttime coffee really does have its moments. Now, we're talking normal coffee, not decaf.
Normal coffee.
Normal coffee. Yep. So I feel like I'm somebody that can't properly comment on this because my caffeine intake is well above the recommended limit every single day. That like a nighttime coffee for me doesn't really do anything for me.
Doesn't affect your sleep at all.
No, like I can have it. I could honestly have an energy drink and like take a nap. Like I drink way too much caffeine. So I could have it. I like the taste of coffee. So especially after like a nice like meal, I'll definitely have like a coffee and just chill just because I like the taste. Or especially if it's like cold outside, nice cup of coffee. Next level. Are you team coffee at night or no?
In college I was, but not anymore.
No.
Like, yeah.
You've grown up a little bit?
Yep. Grew up, throw off my sleep, you know?
Oh,
God. I'm one of those.
You don't have a lot of caffeine then?
No, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
But it still throws off your sleep?
If I have it after like 6 or 7 p.m.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's tough. I couldn't imagine doing that. I couldn't imagine. That would honestly irritate me because I love coffee. So it would definitely be tough. But let me know in the chat if you're watching this back. Definitely let us know what you think of those 3 hot or not topics. Again, on your way out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review. We appreciate everybody taking time out of their day to listen and or watch. And of course, there is practice tomorrow. Fall camp goes to next week, and they're rolling through it, and the season will be here before you know it. So if you enjoyed the content, give us a follow at PHNX _Sun Devils. You can follow my hosts who haven't been here all week at Shane Deef, currently just exploring Europe. You can follow the one, the only blind mouse, Eric Ruby himself, at Eric Ruby. That is Eric with a K. You can follow DJ Kyle at K Coop Sports. That is KCOOP Sports. You can follow me at Anthony _Totri. And in the meantime, guys, as always, go Devils and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.